said the same. He said the same thing. I don't believe, and he doesn't believe that there are kids, because you don't yank around and use alleged.
Whoever heard of a baby bump being so variable, and not to mention swinging from side to side? Oh, let's do the cha-cha, or shall we do chubby checker? Let's twist again like we never twist.
What unfolded during that flight has thrown the royal household into full-blown crisis mode. And truthfully, this moment of reckoning was long overdue. Now, flight crew members who were right there watching every second unfold are breaking their silence. Their accounts are nothing short of chilling. We are talking about conduct so disturbing that even veteran attendance people who have handled everything from A-list tantrums to high-stakes political emergencies are still shaken. The events that took place thousands of feet above ground were far worse than anyone imagined. What Dan Wootton uncovered about that flight to South Africa is nothing short of heartbreaking. And it did not come from second-hand whispers. It came straight from someone who lived through it moment by moment. A senior flight attendant with British Airways, visibly shaken, approached Dan during one of his own journeys. No one asked her to speak. She came forward on her own, driven by the weight of what she had seen. Her account was so disturbing, so raw, that staying silent was no longer an option. This was not some attention-seeking crew member spinning tales. This was a highly experienced flight attendant, someone who had spent years handling long-haul international flights, and thought she had seen it all. But nothing prepared her for what she witnessed on that September 2019 journey to South Africa. According to her, Meghan's treatment of baby Archie, just 4 months old at the time, was deeply unsettling. She told Dan that throughout the entire flight, Meghan neither held nor cared for her son even once. For someone so seasoned, it was unlike anything she had ever encountered in the skies.
Meghan refused to touch or look after Archie even once. She didn't look at him. She had zero interest when he was upset. And she expected the staff the entire time to take care of.
Let that sink in for a moment. This was not just any flight. It was a lengthy transatlantic journey, stretching across hours in the sky. And yet, not once did Meghan show the slightest interest in her own infant son. Whenever Archie cried or needed care, she handed off all responsibility to the nannies or cabin crew, staying entirely disconnected. But what truly disturbed the flight attendant was not just the delegation of duties, it was the eerie absence of any emotional bond between mother and child. This was not about exhaustion or needing rest. According to her, there was something far colder at play. The disconnect was so blatant that even seasoned staff, trained to stay professional no matter what, were left exchanging uneasy glances. Adding to the unease was what the flight attendant revealed next. She pointed out a sharp contrast in Meghan's demeanor based on Prince Harry's presence. When he was nearby, Meghan suddenly became gracious and attentive, playing the part of the warm wife and mother. But the moment Harry walked away, her attitude shifted. Her kindness vanished, replaced by dismissiveness and icy behavior toward the crew. This wasn't a one-off slip, it mirrored what insiders from the palace had long been whispering. According to them, Meghan had a talent for performance acting, affectionate and composed in front of key people, only to reveal a starkly different personality when the spotlight faded. These observations are deeply troubling, not just for what they say about Meghan's relationship with the crew, but for what they suggest about her relationship with Prince Harry. If her caring persona was just an act when he was watching, what does that mean for the foundation of their bond? The crew witnessed, in real time, how skillfully Meghan could shift gears, charming her husband one minute, disregarding others the next. But this pattern of behavior was not limited to that one flight. Dan Wootton's investigation uncovered that Meghan had a history of treating airline staff poorly long before her royal chapter began. While filming suits and frequently flying between Toronto and Los Angeles, she reportedly built a reputation among airline workers, especially on American Airlines, as one of the most difficult passengers they had ever dealt with. Multiple flight attendants described her behavior as entitled and icy. She allegedly demanded free upgrades to first class while flying on economy tickets and treated staff with arrogance and impatience. This was not an isolated issue sparked by fame or royal responsibilities. According to these accounts, Meghan had long shown a tendency to look down on those in service roles. Her actions suggested a mindset not of someone under pressure but of someone who fundamentally lacked respect for people she viewed as beneath her. These patterns paint a revealing portrait. Long before the palace's headlines, and royal titles. Meghan was already known among airline staff for her cold and demanding attitude. Her frequent flights for Soho House events and filming commitments were enough to build a reputation that trailed her into her new life. And just as Dan was peeling back the layers of her flight conduct, Lady Colin Campbell added more fuel to the fire, this time with shocking claims surrounding Meghan's children, hinting that the controversy may go even deeper than anyone imagined. In her conversation with Don Wooten, Lady Colin Campbell made a startling admission. She had personally reached out to senior officials within the palace to alert them about growing public concerns surrounding Meghan Markle's pregnancies. She did not sugarcoat her concerns. Lady Colin described how countless observers were bewildered by Meghan's fluctuating baby bump, which appeared to move and shift in ways that defied the basic expectations of biology. With her characteristic wit, she compared the bump's odd movements to a dance routine swinging like it was doing the cha-cha or a chubby checker twist. The visual may have been humorous, but the implications were deeply serious. What stood out even more was that no one from the palace ever asked Lady Colin to stop speaking publicly about the rumors of surrogacy. In fact, she revealed that she began receiving tens of thousands of public comments questioning the authenticity of Meghan's pregnancies. Comments that pushed her to contact the palace. Her concern was not based on hearsay or online speculation, but on the sheer volume of confusion among the public, and the unusual presentation that prompted it. But perhaps the most shocking claims have come from Meghan's own family. Through his daughter Samantha, Thomas Markle raised serious doubts about whether Meghan actually gave birth to Archie and Lilibet. These were not just whispers from royal watchers or tabloid gossip. This was Meghan's father, someone who should have been intimately familiar with the details of his daughter's personal life, expressing disbelief. Thomas Markle's doubts carry weight because a father often has knowledge about a daughter's pregnancy that outsiders wouldn't. According to Samantha, Thomas told her that just 9 months before Archie's reported birth, Meghan had undergone a procedure to retrieve and freeze her eggs. That detail alone was striking. It suggested she may have been planning something other than a traditional pregnancy, and Thomas's comments were not wild accusations, they were specific, emotionally charged, and stemmed from confusion rather than malice. Adding to the emotional weight of his words is how Thomas discovered his daughter was expecting. He did not hear it from Meghan herself. Instead, he learned of her pregnancies the same way the public did, through news headlines. For a father to be excluded from such life-changing family news raises serious questions. His bewilderment, he says, comes not from a desire for attention, but from trying to make sense of a situation in which he was clearly kept in the dark. Samantha Markle echoed that sentiment, stating openly, "If there was a surrogate, just say so." She argued that admitting the use of a surrogate would have been more honest than maintaining a public illusion. The Markle family, she insists, has no personal or financial incentive to create controversy. In fact, their public doubts about the births have only deepened their estrangement from Meghan, and yet, they continue to speak out, not for gain, but because they believe a significant deception is unfolding at the highest levels. Thomas Markle has repeatedly expressed his desire to meet his grandchildren, yet he remains shut out. His sadness is visible when he speaks about wanting to see the children he has never met, children whose very existence he now questions. Not out of cruelty, but out of deep confusion based on years of being sidelined and denied information. Adding another layer to the mystery is the issue surrounding Archie's birth certificate. According to Lady Colin Campbell, Prince Harry was the one who filled out and submitted the birth certificate, but later had to make 2 changes. The first was minor, adding his full princely title, but the second was far more alarming. Meghan's full legal name, Rachel Meghan, was entirely removed from the document. Originally, she was listed as Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex, Rachel Meghan, but that identification was later amended, eliminating her names altogether. Lady Colin emphasized that such an edit was not routine. The only reason for removing a mother's full legal name from a birth certificate, she argued, would be if the information submitted was incorrect. This suggests a troubling possibility that someone else may have entered the hospital under Meghan's name and given birth in her place. The revision of that official document is a glaring red flag, and one that adds weight to long-standing questions about the circumstances surrounding Archie's arrival. These revelations, layered with inconsistencies and first-hand doubts from Meghan's own family, paint a complex and unsettling picture. Far from fading with time, the questions about Meghan's pregnancies and the children's births have only grown more urgent, and the voices demanding clarity are not from fringe commentators, but from those who once stood closest to her.
Now famous for the atrocious ways that she treats crews on international flights, including, by the way, on American Airlines.
Lady Colin Campbell highlighted a troubling legal complexity at the heart of this controversy. Once children are formally recorded in the royal lineage, removing them is no simple matter. There is no quick fix or quiet adjustment. The process involves a legal maze, and even if there are serious doubts about Archie and Lilibet's origins, the palace cannot just erase them with a signature. That leaves the monarchy caught in a no-win situation. If they confront the swirling suspicions publicly, they risk triggering a public scandal that could shake the very foundations of the institution. But saying nothing allows speculation to thrive and grow more damaging by the day. Dan Wootton's investigation uncovered yet another layer of this issue, a suspiciously timed public relations stunt that appeared designed to shift public opinion. A viral story surfaced about an American Airlines flight attendant receiving a heartfelt, handwritten thank you note from Meghan Markle. On the surface, it looked like a charming gesture. But dig deeper, and it falls apart. Airline employees, especially those serving high-profile passengers, are contractually forbidden from sharing their experiences publicly, especially anything as personal as a private note. The fact that this story was not only leaked but also rapidly picked up by major outlets suggests it was not spontaneous at all. It was planted. The now viral message, which read, "It was a pleasure serving you, we love you real bad," was framed as an authentic tribute to Meghan's kindness. But it came just as multiple reports were emerging about her mistreatment of airline staff, timing too convenient to ignore. Wootton argued that this was a calculated attempt to drown out the negative headlines, using a staged moment to repaint Meghan as warm and gracious. But the move backfired. It only drew attention to how manufactured her image has become. Even more troubling is how Meghan appears to have exploited the legal protections designed to shield airline employees from retaliation. She crafted a glowing story involving crew members who, by policy, cannot respond or clarify the truth. It was a one-sided narrative that silenced the very people who have endured her harsh behavior in private. These crew members, bound by confidentiality agreements, had no way to defend themselves, turning them into unwilling participants in a false redemption arc. This speaks volumes about Meghan's calculated approach to shaping public opinion. She is not merely trying to control her image, she is manipulating systems meant to protect others, using them as shields while pushing a carefully curated version of herself to the public. It is the same pattern many have observed in how she presents herself as a mother. From the outside, Meghan appears to be the picture of a modern, hands-on mother, but those close to her claim the reality is very different. Every moment with her children that we see, the walks, the photo ops, the candid shots, are said to be precisely staged. According to insiders, she holds the children just long enough for the cameras, then passes them off to staff without a second glance. The nurturing image is just another costume change in a highly orchestrated performance. More disturbing is how she uses motherhood as a shield whenever public criticism intensifies. Whenever controversy surfaces, Meghan pivots, portraying herself as a fiercely private mother under siege. Yet she is often the one placing her children in the spotlight, only to later cry foul when the media attention turns critical. It creates a paradox, a demand for privacy wrapped in a publicity campaign. According to those who have worked with her, this disconnect between image and reality is striking. The same Meghan who publicly coos over her children reportedly showed zero maternal engagement during a transatlantic flight, expecting the crew to care for baby Archie while she remained disengaged. That, they say, is the real Meghan, not the loving mother for the cameras, but someone who treats parenting like a prop in a public relations strategy. What is most heartbreaking is how deeply manipulative this has become. Using children as accessories to bolster an image is not just inauthentic, it is a betrayal of the role itself. Those who know the behind-the-scenes dynamics speak of a woman who is far more concerned with how motherhood appears than with what it actually requires. Despite efforts to silence these stories, the truth is beginning to leak through the cracks. Dawn Wootton's courage in airing the flight attendant's story, Lady Colin Campbell's persistence in revealing behind-the-scenes communication with the palace, and the Markle family's willingness to speak openly, all of these accounts are aligning. They come from different directions but tell the same story, that what the public has been shown is not the full truth. As more credible voices step forward and share their experiences, it becomes harder to dismiss these revelations as mere gossip or conspiracy. The consistency in the details, the credibility of the witnesses, and the increasing number of sources all point to one conclusion: the carefully crafted public image is unraveling. And as that unraveling continues, it forces a much larger question to the surface: what does it mean if the royal family has unknowingly accepted a false narrative into its lineage? The British public has a right to transparency from the institution it supports, and the monarchy itself deserves clarity about the people it has embraced. If deception lies at the heart of this chapter, ignoring it may one day cost the crown far more than a scandal. It may cost its very credibility.